Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing? This video popped up and I want to react to it. Why American highways are so slow and dangerous. I didn't know American highways were particularly slow. So I'm definitely intrigued. America's the only place I've driven, so I don't really have anywhere else to compare it to. It's definitely slow compared to the Autobahn. But that's just because the speed limit is slower. His icon made me think about that. You know, I like his icon. It's like a T. It's a play on that Autobahn no speed limit sign. Unlimited speed. Go as fast as your car can. And good luck to you. They don't have that here in America, and that's for the best. And yet, he says it's dangerous. So, I'm interested to hear his thoughts. Go check out his channel, link down below. Tedward.
If Americans would learn how to use a 3, 4, 5-lane highway
Okay, I didn't know I'd be scolded straight out of the gate 6 seconds in.
correctly, not only would we have safer highways, we would have faster highways. Welcome back, I'm Tedward, and today we're going to take the E92 M3 out on the highway to talk about something that's been driving me absolutely crazy lately, and that is lane etiquette, or lack thereof, in the United States. American lane etiquette is abysmal. And you know,
That was actually really making me pretty upset on the way home today. So I can relate.
what, you might actually be part of the problem. I know, you're out there commanding that
What's funny is I might actually be, because I always start out the drive being the most considerate person on the road, and by the end of it, I'm like, screw these people. I'm sick of it. If they're gonna stick in the left lane and make it impossible for me to pass people, then I might as well too.
people get out of the left lane. We don't like left lane hogs, but it's more than that. There's middle lane hogs as well. So let's go out to the highway.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. The middle lane is kind of, I don't know the etiquette of the middle lane. I mean, I think of it as kind of just a baby left lane, you know? It's like, oh, you want to pass someone, a grandma, in the right lane, go in the middle lane. But then if you're really, you know, if you're in this thing, BMW M3, you go all the way to the left lane. But I don't know the exact etiquette. Sometimes I just hang out in the middle lane because it feels right.
And talk about what Americans think the lanes are used for, what they're really supposed to be used for, and what we need to do to try to bring about some change in the United States. Because frankly, bad lane etiquette is dangerous. I want to focus on the 3-lane highway today, because the 2-lane highway should be pretty self-explanatory. In a 2-lane highway, you stay to the right unless you're passing.
You know what? I love this. Because honestly, I could use someone scolding me on exactly when to not use the middle lane.
Then you may use the left lane. That should follow in a 3-lane highway, but for some reason, when we approach a 3-lane highway, suddenly everything falls apart and people get stupid. And this person, okay. We could do an entire lesson on merging too, but
What did he do? What did he do?
suddenly everything falls apart and people get stupid. And this person, okay.
He's merging a little slow.
We could do an entire lesson on merging too.
Some people like slow down as they get to the merge. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you trying to do to us, dude?
But, all right, we don't need to go crazy. Entering the highway, we're getting on in the right lane.
We're gonna get run over.
Using this right lane. The people to the left of me are passing me appropriately. However, they are not going to move back over once they pass me.
No.
That's not going to happen in America. And
No.
that is the
Prove them wrong.
problem. So here's the deal with a 3-lane highway. The way a 3-lane highway is supposed to work is you're supposed to cruise in the rightmost lane possible until you approach a slower car. Move to the left, pass that car. Then move to the left, past the next car in line. Instead, what ends up happening is people use these lanes as the slow lane, the cruising lane, and the passing lane.
Yes. Yes. That is absolutely true, and I am certainly guilty of that myself, using the middle lane. But you know, when everybody else does it, I don't even really feel bad about it. That is like, nobody as long if you're not driving slow in the left lane, that's all I can really ask for out of my fellow American drivers. Anything else, it's like, okay, I'm just happy you're not going 5 miles an hour under the speed limit in the left lane.
That is incorrect. That is absolutely incorrect, and it's gonna land you in trouble because
See, even this like little box truck isn't getting over.
fortunately, when you use the middle lane as the quote cruising lane, you've just basically made this into a two-lane highway, and now you've limited capacity. So I'm in the middle lane cruising, but I'm in the middle lane cruising because I'm overtaking everybody in this right lane. And you see, once
So in that case, it's
I'm
fine.
done overtaking all this traffic, I should move over. This is the problem.
Exactly. This is the problem, is you get up to this guy, and this is why it makes it hard to even do it. You get up to this guy who should have got over, but now, you want to get over, but then you're going to be passing this guy in the right lane, and that's not really how it all works, ideally.
That guy, he's not going to move over. He's not overtaking anybody, but he's going to hog the middle lane. What he should be doing is moving over to the right lane. Now, the trouble with this is that in congested areas like I'm in right now, we've got a lot of entrance and exit ramps. So this is the reasoning, I believe, why people do not move back over to the
Right. A lot of times that right lane is just kind of thought of as like, I'm just going to stay out of it because a lot of people are getting on and off. And I mean, when people are getting on, sometimes you have to get over anyway. So you're just getting over, getting back, getting over, getting back.
right is because they believe, well, I'm going to have to move over anyway, so why should I move into the right lane? Well, no. The problem is now, instead of passing this guy by moving over one lane, I have to move over 2 lanes to pass him. All we really need to remember is, once you've completed your
Now,
the problem is
you could have passed him on the right, and that's what a lot of Americans would do. And what's the thought about that? Because that's not really your fault if you're this BMW driver. That's his fault. He should have been over in the right lane. Now, you're not supposed to be passing him on the right, but he shouldn't have put you in that position. So that confuses me.
is now, instead of passing this guy by moving over one lane, I have to move over 2 lanes to pass him. All we really need to remember is, once you've completed your pass, move as far to the right as possible.
So you guys are changing lanes a lot more dynamically and often, right? And it makes it a more efficient, it's like a wave of people, faster cars getting around each other. It's definitely like a less lazy way to drive. Whereas a lot of people are just, they're not even thinking. To be honest, a lot of these people driving down the middle lane, they're zoned out. They're listening to a podcast. They're not even thinking about what they should be doing.
Unfortunately, this doesn't play out very well because now nobody else plays by the rules. So if I'm the only one, playing by the rules, I'm the only one moving 2 lanes back over to the right, and everyone else just stays in this middle, I end up losing. Because then I end up getting boxed in by people who are going to go exactly the same speed as me. And then every time I want to make a pass, I have to move over 2 lanes, okay? It's a tricky balance because I want to, like a cat poster, I want to be the change I want to see in the world. I want to act the way I'd like to see others act. I'd like to use that right lane as much as possible.
That's what makes it so hard. You want to be that guy, but then by the end of the drive, people have pissed you off one too many times. You're like, you know what? If no one else is going to do it,
I'm not passing.
Why am I? Why am I wasting my time and getting angry like
anybody? Unfortunately, because you will likely be, if you're lucky, in the 1% of people who actually understand how to use a 3-lane highway, you're always going to lose. So I still stand by. I'm still moving over to my right lane. I still stand by that you should do the right thing and you should get in the correct lane, even though these 2 cars should be in the right lane right now until they have to pass.
Now look at them. They're both blocking the left lanes. Both left lanes. So now he's going to have to pass on the right or slow down. There's no way I'm slowing down for some jerks like this. I'm just not doing it. I'm going to pass them on the right.
the slower traffic. In Germany, this is called Rechtsfahrgebot. Rechtsfahrgebot is basically just the idea that you always use the right lane unless you need to pass. It's probably deeper than that. My German viewers can watch on and comment as they'd like about Rechtsfahrgebot, but and maybe just crap all over my pronunciation. I'm doing my best. Please don't stop on the highway. Don't do that. Oh my goodness. What is this country? No wonder there are so many traffic accidents.
I'm kind of curious what was happening.
Crap
here.
all over my
So this is like a merge.
pronunciation.
They do have a yield sign.
I'm doing my best. Please don't stop on
Is he pulling over?
the highway. Don't do that. Oh my goodness. What is this country? No wonder there are so many traffic accidents. We have a beautiful 3-lane.
Do we have... I'm going to look up a graph. All right, I'm definitely glad I paused for that because I had to fight my way through the most annoying website I've ever seen. But indeed, number 1 out of 5 countries with the most car accidents per capita is USA. I'm surprised Japan is number 2. And Austria, Portugal, and Germany is number 5. I'm wondering if a lot of countries, like I don't know what countries are included on this list. I'm wondering if a lot of accidents just aren't reported in some other countries. Because some countries I've seen videos and they drive crazy. Crazy. Like it's like chaos. So while I'm not surprised America is high up, to see like something like Germany's number 5 and not like some other countries, kind of surprising, but nevertheless, America was number 1. Damn.
Highway with a very, very simple system. Nobody seems to know how to use it. Nobody seems to want to know how to use it. We have nice, safe, long merges with wonderful visibility behind us. And what do? We stop. We stop on the on-ramp before we enter the highway to make the most dangerous possible situation. Good boy. He's moved over. Guaranteed he won't move
No.
over.
The most dangerous possible situation would be doing a U-turn on the merge and driving straight into head-on traffic.
Over to the right lane, he'll just go in the quote-unquote cruising lane. That's the biggest problem.
I've never heard it called the cruising lane, but that is how people treat it.
If Americans would learn how to use a 3, 4, 5-lane highway correctly, not only would we have safer highways, we would have faster highways. There's a lot.
That's crazy to think about, like a 5-lane highway and cars going all the way from the right lane, passing each other like that.
A lot of folks who totally disagree with me about speed limits. I fundamentally don't really agree with speed limits. I think 65 miles per hour is laughably slow given the safety and capabilities of modern motor vehicles. But I also understand that maybe 65...
I kind of feel like it's not, the limiting factor is not the vehicle, it's like the people.
is all we deserve because we don't even know how to use the safe roads we've been given, and they're not enforced. Police enforce speed limits. Rarely do police enforce left lane hogs. In fact, they
Only if you're in front of them. I would not recommend pulling in front of a cop in the left lane and just like cruising, going the speed limit. Don't do that. He might actually pull you over for that.
It's so rare that they do this that when it happens and it's caught on camera, it's celebrated amongst the Facebook community. You'll see that go on. And
What? I need to react to that. I've never seen a cop pull over anyone for... I mean, I know I just said you would probably get pulled over if you did it to a cop, but I've never actually seen a cop do it to anyone, let alone, you know, seeing someone else hogging the left lane, getting pulled over for that. No, I've never seen that. In fact, I didn't even know that was a crime. I'm questioning whether or not it is in America.
like little Instagram things.
Maybe in some states.
Hey, look, a left lane hog got pulled over. Isn't that beautiful? Because it almost never happens. It's so rare. And in my humble opinion, I believe that driving in the incorrect lane is more dangerous than speeding alone. Speeding is, and I'm not gonna pass this guy. I'm gonna move over. I'm even gonna change my speed. I'm gonna cruise here, get in the right lane. You shouldn't be passing people on the right. You should only ever be passing people on the left.
See, that part goes out the window for me. When you have two people going slow in these two lanes, I'm gonna pass you on the right. I don't have enough patience to like just ride your ass. And that's honestly dangerous in itself. The whole thing's just dangerous.
I can't believe I have to say that. I can't believe that licensed drivers, people literally holding a driver's license, don't understand that. And now he's just gonna chill in the left lane because he's looking at his phone, or more likely, just doesn't even know. Has no idea. I
see it as kind of an arrogance thing. I think most Americans do know that the left lane is for passing. I'd say most Americans know that. It's just like, he's just like, you know what, I'm just faster than all these other cars, like on average, and so I'm just gonna stick over here, and you know, anybody faster than me can deal with it.
What he's doing is illegal, unsafe, and just disruptive to the flow of traffic.
Although it does bring up an interesting thought, which is that sometimes these highways split off, and they can split off to the left, and that left lane might be essentially an exit, or you know, you might be on a highway where it even turns into a turn lane, like on the left, or you know, you can make a left turn at some point, and not on like an interstate highway, but regardless, like a three-lane highway, and you might have to get over in the left lane while you're not passing people, and then you actually have to slow down to get into the left turn lane and make your left turn. What do you do in that scenario?
The biggest issues on three-lane highways is that people believe that because they're going the speed limit, they are entitled to the middle lane. This fella going over 65, maybe 70, but he's not entitled to the middle lane. That car belongs in the right lane. It's not passing anybody, and in fact, he's disrupting traffic. He's disrupting traffic because people are forced to pass him, and many people are passing him on the right, which is unsafe, unpredictable, and can cause problems. So he's not only slowing the flow of traffic, he's
definitely don't assume people aren't going to pass you on the right here in America. People will pass you on the right. Absolutely. You got to check your blind spot every time.
Increasing the danger of driving on a highway, which doesn't have to be dangerous because we're all going in the same direction at almost the same speed. I'm going to slow down for a second just because usually there's a speed trap there, and there is the police officer. Okay, so yes, while I'm in the left lane and I wasn't passing for a second, I made an exception for the sake of points on my license. But we're going to get back up to speed and we're going to move back over. And again, here we have another middle lane hog. It's a Prius. I try not to typecast Prius too much, but yikes, this one really needs to move over. That's a big issue. See, they feel completely entitled to that middle lane. They do not belong in the middle lane. They belong in the right lane. Just like
that, I don't think people realize that at all. So, you could really drive yourself crazy. You could drive yourself crazy stressing out about that because probably 75%, 80% of Americans do view that middle lane as just like anything goes, you know, just go. As long as you're going a reasonable speed, you can stick in the middle lane.
I belong in the right lane right now. I'm passing nobody. It doesn't matter if I'm going a little faster than the speed limit. I'm not passing anybody. And if I'm not passing...
Americans will look up, though, like at this truck ahead of them and be like, oh, I'm going faster than him, so I'm not going to get in the right lane. You know, as far as the eye can see. Like, oh, I think I'm going faster than that guy in the right lane 2 miles up.
Anybody,
so I'll stick to the left.
Absolutely no reason for me to be in any other lane. So, let's go ahead, overtake this truck in the middle lane as God intended, because that's what the middle lane is for. It's just a passing lane, and that's just another passing lane. They are both the passing lane. They are both the fast lane. We need to change the paradigm of how we use American 3, 4, 5 lane highways. Here, I'm getting passed. I'm getting passed, and I'm not offended. It's okay. That person's going faster than me, and it hasn't.
Some special people out there do get offended when you pass them, which is hilarious.
Hasn't even slightly diminished my masculinity or my sense of self. I'm okay. Everything was fine. A slower car, a Jeep, it passed me on a highway, and I'm okay. I'm gonna move over to the middle lane, I'm gonna make my pass, and I'm gonna move back over. Is this not outrageous? Is this not crazy talk? But this isn't how people
That was kind of interesting, actually. I thought he would go into the left lane to pass this guy.
believe they should be driving, because they believe they're entitled to that middle lane. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to give room for the people getting on the highway. They have the yield sign, although
Yay.
they are already on the road by the time I'm here, so I do need to move over. So we'll go ahead, we'll overtake this person. Not a big deal, but watch this. We've got a right lane passer. Absolutely no excuse for that in this situation. The left lane wide open. Could have moved over, gotten in front of me, made that pass absolutely safely, absolutely predictably. I think the main thing, though, is that we can't be too frustrated. We need to be able to temper our road rage.
He's definitely speaking to himself. He took a breath. We can't be too frustrated. After he is boiling over. And I can't blame him. I mean, if this is really all you think about while driving on an American highway, you will drive yourself crazy. You really do have to kind of, like, okay, you know, the culture here is just not how it should be. And stressing out is not going to change that.
It's because the problem is so widespread. It's such commonplace knowledge that the middle lane is the cruising lane. It's just what everybody does. How could you get mad at a social norm? Well, I am mad at the social norm, and this social norm has to die. We have to change this, and the only way to change it is to talk about it, because the police seem to only be focused on speed traps. They want to make revenue from speed traps.
Hey, if the police started pulling people over for this, it would change very quick compared to just people talking about it, I will say. That's how you get the change done. You best believe it, I'm going to be sticking to the right lane, and probably everybody else is, if they're going to get a $200 ticket for cruising in the middle.
And everyone believes that speeding is dangerous. Speeding is dangerous. And while I can't 100% refute that, I have a different take on speed limits. I typically don't really believe in them, but I do think that being in the right place and driving predictably is much safer than setting everybody at a 65 mile per hour speed limit. So please, 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 enough posturing, enough calling the middle lane the cruising lane. It is not the cruising lane. It is a passing lane. It is one of two
And you know what kind of contributes to this problem is people do call the right lane the slow lane. That's what people call it, the slow lane. It's not the normal lane. It's not the default lane. It's the slow lane. That's where grandmas in semi-trucks drive. It's kind of the thought.
passing lanes. And merge correctly. You don't have to merge aggressively, but don't stop on the passing lanes.
I just want to see this merge. So there's this white car. Yeah, that worked.
And merge correctly. You don't have to merge aggressively, but don't stop on the merge, because at the end of the day, all we're trying to do, every one of us, is trying to get somewhere as fast and efficiently and safely, paramount, safely as possible. And when you use the middle and left lane incorrectly by just camping out there, well, what you're doing is you're forcing traffic to make illegal moves. You're forcing that traffic to pass you on the right. Undertaking is just unsafe, and it's unsafe because it's unpredictable. Be predictable, be safe, use the lanes correctly, and it's okay to admit you were wrong. It's okay. We've all cruised in the middle lane. We've all used the middle lane as
No, never.
just our cruising lane, so we don't have to think about traffic coming on and off the highway, or so we don't have to make as many lane changes. But you know what? It's time we use the highway correctly. And I know it can be really, really hard
I feel like the time was a long time ago, and at this point, it's gonna be really hard to change it.
to play by the rules when no one else is playing by the rules. But I sincerely believe if we gently tell our friends you're in the wrong lane, if we try to coerce them to use the right lane when they're not passing,
I'm just imagining telling my friend that. No matter how gently you say it, they're gonna be like, "The fuck? How about you pipe down and let me drive?"
we might be able to make
Next time you're driving.
a faster, safer highway for everyone. So thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing.
Oh, that was a good rant. That reminded me of another rant I listened to. This one wasn't as off the rails, but a good rant. And you know what? I mean, I always kind of assumed that's how a 3-lane highway is meant to work, but so few people do it here in America. It's good to get some clarification, you know? Because that middle lane really is, as far as the culture surrounding it, it's pretty much just anything goes there in the middle lane. Anything goes. What happens in the middle lane stays in the middle lane. Go check out his channel. That was funny and informative. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.